It's just another continuation of like a previous video that we made. I'm here with James Toon. James, can you introduce yourselves to these beautiful audiences here? These sexy audiences. Go on.
Well, what's going on, everyone? Of course, it is your boy JT. We're back again. More UFC action to discover with my boy Ibrahima. First of all, how are you doing on this fine, I want to say autumn's evening, 3:09 on the
More
clock as
like
it is right now. A little bit of sun peeking through the window, just enough to give you that thrill of energy of talking about the UFC. Anyway, how are you doing, Ibrahima?
my friend, I'm doing just absolutely incredible, absolutely fantastic. Excited though about honestly UFC 272. We've talked about that earlier, but I'm even more excited about UFC 274, which is obviously going to be taking place in Brazil in April, in May, excuse me, in May, between obviously Glover Teixeira and the new up and coming UFC light heavyweight champion, the 6'3" giant in Jiří Procházka, my friend James. This fight is going to be absolutely sensational. What is your understanding about this fight between Prochazka and Glover Teixeira?
Well, of course, Prochazka has been on quite a bit of a tear as of late. You know, really picking up some steam, picking up some momentum. Of course, surmounting or summiting with that beautiful spinning elbow on Dominic Reyes to finish him in his last fight. But he's someone who's starting to cultivate a bit of a cult following over from the Czech Republic. He's starting to give them some hope because when I can't think of another. Can you think of someone from the Czech Republic who's made it to championship level off the top of your head?
In fighting,
Yeah, in the
no,
UFC. In the UFC.
there's never been a. There's Cynthia Pudilova, but she fought, but she isn't like, as successful as Jiří Procházka. And I mean, if we talk about football, we could talk about the likes of Thomas Rosicky or Pavel Nedved, but we're talking
Oh
about
well,
mixed
yeah,
martial
Pavel.
arts
Yeah, well,
specifically.
football different story, but yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah, you know
for
what I mean?
fighting, I mean, you got Petr Cech, you got but for
Nedved
fighting, that's what I mean. He's
and
really
Patrick
holding the
Berger,
flag high for his Czech brothers,
totally. Absolutely, mate. Honestly,
and
initially you had Cynthia Pudilova, but honestly, as you've mentioned earlier, mate, that knockout against the former UFC light heavyweight contender in Dominic Reyes was just special. Like you don't see knockouts like that in the UFC. Spinning elbow, timed perfectly, out cold, face to the canvas. James, what a knockout! What a knockout! What was your initial thought when you saw it?
when I saw that knockout. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't actually manage to catch that fight live, but I did watch the replay obviously. And
the replay. Yeah,
I was trying to like avoid, you know, when you go on the next day and you're trying to find the full fight and it's so hard, you're trying to avoid like spoilers because you know when you type the fight in there's going to be like an article like da 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 da
yeah,
XYZ1, and then I just
yeah,
see
yeah.
like stunning. I all I see out of the corner of my eyes is like stunning knockout, but I didn't know for who, and then so I was kind of waiting the entire fight for this knockout. I was like, all right, come on. Every time someone was going in with a right hand, I was like, oh, this is gonna finish him. This is gonna finish him. And then all of a sudden, like the
Mm.
part I'd least expect it from is where it came from. Like even though I was expecting a knockout, completely caught me by surprise. Just so quick, sharp, sees him in like back of his head, spins, bang with the elbow. I mean, it's almost Tony Ferguson esque. He used to love those spinning elbows. I can't I can't
Used
really
to.
think of the last time I've seen someone knocked out like that from an elbow. Can you?
I mean, I can't really think of someone to be honest. I think there's a fight that's essentially in my mind, but I can't remember who fought and who got the knockout. But I'm pretty sure there's been spinning elbow knockouts in the UFC. I mean, we've seen
Oh no,
Anderson Silva
they
knock
have.
Chris
I
Leben
mean,
up. Yeah, but just like the way he's done it, I haven't seen many like that to be honest. That is particularly special. And the fight was actually really close as well. The fight between him and Dominic Reyes, it was really close. You know, Dominic Reyes was landing, you know, like wicked. I'm talking about wicked left hands, like rear hands from the southpaw stand, and he's got serious power. And you can see that there's holes definitely in Prochazka's game. You can tell. And the problem is that we've got Glover Teixeira on the other hand, who's a highly decorated wrestler. He's not like any sort of like all-American, sort of like high school or collegiate wrestler. No, he's not. But he's learned MMA wrestling through just being in the sport for such a long time. And we saw what he's done to former light heavyweight champion in Jan Blachowicz. Took him down and beat him up. Former contender in Anthony Smith. What he did, took him down and beat the hell out of him. Made his MMA debut back in 2011. So the dude has been around. Fought for the title against Jon Jones back in 2013. Unsuccessful. He got dominated by Jon Jones. But look at the guy, dude made his professional MMA debut in 2002. So the dude has been around. And based on experience, I think, and based on his ability to wrestle and all these different things, I think he can be a nightmare for Jiří Procházka. What do you think about that? To be honest, based on his wrestling, do you think that he's going to cause any troubles
Well,
for Jiří
what do you
Procházka?
think
Do you
about
think so?
Prochaska's ground game? Do you rate his ground
A
game at
ground
all?
game. Unfortunately, he's only been taken down once in the UFC, which was against Dominic Reyes, but he managed to scramble back up quickly. Dominic Reyes, on the other hand, is not known for being like the most, the best wrestler in the UFC, right? So it's easy probably
Yeah.
to get back up, or the best grappler to get back up, easily scramble your way. But we're talking about Glover, a highly decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Antonio Rodrigo Minotauro Nogueira. You know what I mean? Like getting a black belt from him, just like Anderson Silva. I mean, it's impossible. It almost seems impossible to see Jiří Procházka scramble his way up or even be able to submit Glover Teixeira. So I think, from my opinion or from my
Well,
perspective, I think Prochazka needs to do his best to avoid the fight going to the ground. To be honest, really, he needs to.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So if he can keep it on his feet, then he probably he stands a good chance. It's just about working on the takedown defense. Obviously, do you think that this could potentially be, because you said he's never really been taken down much before? Taking down
No,
before Procrastia. Do you think this is coming too soon for him? Because we saw with Ngannou versus I know not to go back to Ngannou, but Ngannou versus Stipe the first time,
Stipe.
uh, where
Yeah.
he just wasn't used to being taken down out of his comfort zone as much. And it took him getting the second bite of the cherry where he really worked on his takedown defense and he really worked on his ground game to stop that from happening. Do you think this is a little bit too short of a notice for Jiri to really sort those holes in his game out?
Honestly, mate, that's a really good question. Well structured as well. I think Jiří Procházka, again, he has an advantage standing up, regardless of how you see it. He's the better striker. He's a highly decorated kickboxer, highly decorated former Muay Thai champion, right? But the problem, what gives the wrestler an advantage going into the fight, is the ability to kind of make your opponent think of a threat of a takedown, if that makes sense. So think about the fact that you could take them down any minute, right, or wrestle them. So the fact that he's going to be thinking like that has the potential to take away from his striking abilities, because he's thinking about the takedown, and you know what I mean. So that obviously kind of takes away from his footwork, his striking, and he doesn't want to take risk because he might be concerned that he will be taken down, right? So from that perspective, I think, I'm not saying that. I think from his striking and from his experience in world championship fights in Muay Thai, I think definitely he's still going to be the underdog in my opinion. Not the odds, but like from my personal opinion, he should be the underdog. But I think I wouldn't say necessarily that he's going into the fight too soon. I wouldn't say that. I think there's not a real contender. I mean, Jiří Procházka, not Jiří Procházka, Glover Teixeira has beaten, the real contenders like not Dominic Reyes, what's his name, Jan Blachowicz, and also beaten Anthony Smith, but there's not a real sort of contender. However, I think, yes, he is at some sort of a disadvantage in the fight, definitely, but I wouldn't say that it's too early for him. I wouldn't say that.
I mean
Hope I didn't ramble
that
too much.
whole light heavyweight division is a bit of a mess, if you ask me. There isn't really there. I mean, the door is open for Prochaska to make a name for himself because there isn't anyone there that's really drawing big attention in the light heavyweight division. It's not. Yeah, exciting. You thought the way after the way Jan Blachowicz dealt with Israel Adesanya, you thought, okay, this guy could start. He's got a big cult following in Poland. He could start to build something. You thought, okay, that was a very impressive performance. Is he going to build on this? And then to go
Mm,
and lose in the next fight. You need someone building up some momentum, and obviously with Prochazka coming in that five wins in a row. If he can beat
mm,
Teixeira now, if he can start to build something, who knows? But I mean, the door is really open in that division. I don't know what you think, but
yeah.
aside from Teixeira, Blachowicz, Prochazka, maybe Reyes, who gave Jon Jones a good run for his money,
Mhm.
there isn't really a big standout king of that division yet.
King. I totally agree. Since Jon Jones has left the division and talked about going into heavyweight competition, which he still doesn't probably have the balls to do so, apart from the only thing he knows is probably beating up his wife and in a hotel room, honestly. But I mean,
Right?
Anthony
Wow.
Smith is making a comeback.
Allegedly,
Anthony Smith,
allegedly.
no, not allegedly, he did beat out of his wife. Anthony Smith,
Okay, well,
on
if
the
you want to
other,
sue anyone, don't sue me.
yeah, well, anyway, okay, cool. Anyways, Anthony Smith, although he's lost to Glover Teixeira, however, he's making a comeback. He's won like I don't know 2, 3 fights in a row. Maybe his striking has improved a lot. So I think he's going to be sort of like something. I wouldn't say special, but he's definitely going to be a challenge. Not necessarily for Glover because he lost to Glover Teixeira, but if, for example, someone like Jiří Procházka could actually manage to knock out or win against Glover, I think someone like Anthony Smith definitely would be a real contender. Dominic Reyes, on the other hand, since he got spacked out by Jiří, I just don't see him ever coming back, to be honest, trying to fight Jiří Procházka. I mean, maybe they could make a fight possibly between him and Glover Teixeira, but again, he'd probably get his ass whooped anyways. So that's the thing with the light heavyweight division, because when Adesanya moved up, I was thinking maybe Adesanya is probably going to beat Jan Blachowicz, and if he does so, we're going to have Adesanya sort of like the new Jon Jones. But unfortunately, he lost because he got out grappled by the Polish powerhouse in Jan Blachowicz. On the other hand, though, I think the division is lacking real talent at this moment in time since Jon Jones has left, because everyone's trying to fight against Jon Jones, right? And he vacated the belt, and Blachowicz won it. No one was
Well, I
expecting
think
it,
that's why he
anyways. But yeah,
vacated the
the
belt.
division is
Is
lacking talent.
Well,
Why?
yeah, that's
Why do you
probably
think?
why he vacated it. Well, I was listening there's been quite a few opinions recently because everybody knows that he started to fall off a bit in the
Okay.
light heavyweight division. I mean, when Dominic Reyes is giving you a real tight run for your money and you're Jon Jones, that's
Mhm.
when Jon Jones was not the man that he used to be fighting in that light heavyweight division. And some people are putting it down to he's lost his speed, he's lost his reflexes in his older age, and the light heavyweights are just a little bit too quick for him now, and they're able to catch him off guard, and that's why he's going up to heavyweight, because obviously in heavyweight people don't hit as fast, people don't move as fast, so it could be a little bit easier for him in that sense. But then I was watching Chael Sonnen piece, and he kind of changed my mind on it a little bit. He was talking about the actual state of the division and who there really is there for Jon Jones to get himself up for. Who out of those names is Jon Jones, struggling to sleep at night thinking, shit, I've got to beat this guy, or this is a massive fight? Who is lighting that fire under his stomach? I'm not looking at any one of these names. No disrespect to Prochazka, Teixeira, Blachowicz, or Reyes, Corey Anderson, Thiago Santos. No disrespect to any of these guys, but none of them are really gonna in Jon Jones at his best. None of them are really gonna give him a challenge. But if he goes up to heavyweight and he has a fight with Stipe or he has a fight with Ngannou, then that's a big fight for him. That's a big challenge, and I think him leaving is just an indictment on the state of the light heavyweights. To be honest.
True. I mean, he's beaten most of them anyway. So, I mean, I think the fight against Blachowicz was probably something that we as UFC fans, we've been looking forward to, but it never happened. Some people might have thought that Jon Jones was scared of Blachowicz. I don't know, but the